Welcome back to the Apatros review. This episode, The Vampire Bat, 1933. Hi there, welcome back to the Apatros review. I'm your host, Miller Sipka, and join me as I take you on a ride through the wild world of science fiction action horror, all from a personal collection. Now, this episode we look at a film, pre-code horror film from the year 1933. In fact, this film came out in the USA on the 21st of January 1933. It was available, as you saw in the DVD cover, it's available on a double feature DVD from Siren Visual, which handled a number of public domain horror titles in Australia, including a few Italian horror flicks like Cannibal Ferox and City of the Living Dead. I'll review some of them in the future. Anyway, as for that second film in this DVD, Cry the Bewitched, I'll review that a few episodes from now. Now for the story. A small German town begins to experience a wave of killings, where the victims are found in their beds with small holes in their throats and completely drained of blood. The town crazy is initially believed to be a vampire, mainly due to his love of bats, and is chased by his stereotypical angry village mob to his death. He falls off a cliff. But the killings continue, so the local inspector begins to reinvestigate the case, unaware that the local scientist is a real killer, draining his victims' blood to feed an artificial life form that lives in his laboratory fish tank. Now, this was one of a series of Poverty Row B films made by Hollywood in the good old days of the golden age of horror, before the Hays Code came into effect and robbed the genre of a good deal of its impact. The Vampire Bat reunited actors Lionel Atwill and legendary 1930s scream queen Wray, who both starred together in The Mystery of the Wax Museum, which was a ripper of a 1930s mad science film and remade to awesome effect in 1953 Vincent Price classic House of Wax. The Vampire Bat is essentially a vampire film, but without any vampires in it, instead using the vampire angle to disguise what is really a stereotypical mad scientist film, something that became big in the 1940s Poverty Row features, usually with Bela Lugosi at the helm, with Melvin Douglas going toe-to-toe with Lionel Atwill over the killing spree, and with Atwill growing a sort of artificial life from his lab's fish tank. The sets were recycled from other productions, namely the lab being from the likes of Frankenstein, as from the old Dark House. The film is old and creaky to an extent, but not enough to dampen the enjoyability factor completely, with plenty of humor to be found here. The dialogue is well written, and the film's atmosphere is pretty decent for the budget. In fact, that's the film's main ace here. The atmosphere is well handled, with the audience keep thinking there's a vampire on the loose up until the second half when we see the rather cute little sponge blob that is growing inside the fish tank. The only real issue I had with the Vampire Bat is that very little is done with the sponge blob creature. It's only in the villain's customary explain the mad science scheme speech that will explain his create a new form of life, and the rather abrupt ending, which doesn't even use the blob to any sort of resolution. That being said, The Vampire Bat is passable enough little Poverty Row 1930s B movie, which has been lovingly restored by the UCLA back in the 2017, with the flaming torches and the pursuit scene being restored to the hand-painted color, which is good, considering that just about every DVD print out there, including this one from Siren Visual, is totally strictly in black and white, and most of these look like total shit. The Bat gets a C plus, 5 out of 10 out of me. Passable B horror hokum from the 1930s. There's no gore or nudity featured here. Now, as for the DVD, this was part of a series of double features, and even triple features, issued on DVD by Siren Visual, which was an Australian label that existed in the early days of the DVD era in the late 1990s and early 2000s. They usually handled horror films, including a pair of Italian horror releases in the mid-2000s consisting of Cannibal Ferox and City of the Living Dead. I do believe they also released it Beyond, but I haven't been able to confirm that. Siren Visual also retooled itself after those releases and probably still doing the rounds, although I haven't seen any new stuff from them lately in the past few years. In the case of The Vampire Bat, this was put in a double feature as Cry the Bewitched, and a 1950s horror musical about slavery. Like I said, I'll review that film later on in the series. The quality of The Vampire Bat is pretty much dark chocolate flavored shit, with a picture that is very grainy and very dark to see. I had to boost the contrast on my TV screen to see what was going on, and even then it ain't too clear. The flaming torches are in monochrome, in black and white, and the soundtrack is reasonable for an old movie such as this, although I would say that the sound is slightly better than the picture. There are no subtitles and no supplement on this disc. The US restoration label of Film Detective has since put out a manufactured on demand Blu-ray, MOD, with the restored version of the film with DTS HD sound subtitles, so I'd advise you to get that one if you can. It completely wipes the floor with these public domain prints of the Vampire Bat. As for this particular DVD, only get it as a workhorse copy since it's on a double bill Cry the Bewitched, and that latter film isn't really available anywhere else. Just remember to boost the contrast on your TV screen if you decide to watch it. So I hope you're enjoying your coronavirus lockdown. It's pretty much lifted now. From the 1st of June, things will be almost back to normal with a few changes. And I'll be keep doing these reviews practically every 3 days. Once every 3 days. So stay safe, and that's it for this review.